Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Doriansdiyaudio. So, this is a video that I really wasn't going to make, but then I decided, why not? So, what we have here is a Nakamichi NAM1712. Now, I purchased this head unit off of Woot last December, and I think they got me for about just about $48. I did go online to check to see if this thing was still available, and you can find it at places, eBay, and there was another couple other places. So this isn't their top of the line head unit, right? And this isn't Nakamichi from the years before that we used to know back in the early 90s and 80s when they were like a super premium brand. But I wanted a head unit for test bench. So let's check it out. It has a 16 band EQ, subwoofer control. This says cone control or woofer control. I'm not sure what that's all about. Steering wheel controls, if you plan on using this in your vehicle, you have to figure that out. Capacitive panel, I'm not sure what that means. It does have the dual USB inputs, a microphone input, and it does says lossless music. I'm not sure about that, but whatever. Some of the other good options on here is that it does mirror your phone. We talked about the rear camera. It says that it's full HD 1080p, so I'm guessing you could run video into this and watch it. We'll check it out. It has time alignment, multicolor display, and 4-volt RCA outputs. We're going to check that. It says it has some sort of DSP in it, so we'll check that. V-Bass, and then the USB DVR. I'm not sure what that's all about. So let's just go ahead and bust this thing open and check it out, right? So there's some harnesses and some, what do we got here? RCA outputs here, key, we'll have to look at all of that. USB auxiliary or steering wheel, that's the steering wheel control. And then this is the for the speakers and all of the regular typical. It does come with a nice little small remote. Let's go ahead and bust that open real quick, take a look at it. All right, so it's a tiny little remote for sure. It's tight, as tiny as little. But I mean, I guess you could stick a piece of Velcro on it and stick it somewhere in your dash if you planned on using it. And look at that. Speaking of a little piece of Velcro, I'm not sure if that's what it's for, but it does come with a little piece of Velcro and some more smaller screws there. Let's go ahead and get our girl out of the box. So that's all that's inside the box of right now. All right. Now the packaging seemed to be pretty good on it for what it is. I mean, just your standard regular packaging, nothing crazy. Someone's obviously touched this because I could see the fingerprints. Now I don't know if that's their quality control or if this was some sort of return. It doesn't really appear that it was, and it didn't say that it was in the description. So there's some buttons here and things here. Power button, volume, and then this button here. So let's just go into the back real quick. So it does have 3 sets of RCA outputs. One set is on the pigtail here, right? And then the other set is here. And then this green one up here says SW. So I'm taking that as subwoofer. It also has the inputs, as I said earlier. And then there's 3 different videos in, right? So I think one of them is going to be the rear camera, video in, video in, video. So I think there's 3 other video ins also. So it comes with a 15 amp fuse, and then the harness is here. So let's give me a second to get things all sorted out. I'm gonna get this plugged up, and we'll start going through some of the options and testing the outputs to see if we get that 4 volts and whatever else. All right, so you can see our setup has changed a little bit here. Let's go on ahead and start to get this thing wired up. So as I showed you, this is the plug. This has all of the power and stuff on it, and this one has all of the speaker leads on there. I'm just going to use some jumper wires to jump it over to my battery back there that I have going. So green for me is going to be my negative, right? This isn't the most professional way of doing it, but believe it or not, this is how a lot of this stuff is done on a test bench. So they're there, and then the remote control on and the power, we're just going to wire those 2 together, right? And that is going to go to the positive side, hence the red. All right. So we'll go ahead and plug these bad boys in. I don't really need the top one plugged in, but it can just be plugged in anyway. And then this pigtail here, we're going to use because that has the rear outs. We're going to test all of the RCAs, being the 2 here, the fronts, the subwoofer, and the rear. So we're just going to go ahead and get that plugged in, and we'll start powering this thing up and taking a look at all of its options and stuff. All right, we grab a set of RCAs, plug those in. And I think I'm going to do this Bluetooth because typically that's how most people are going to run these things. I don't think I could run the input in and check that way, but I'm just going to skip that for now. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know. Maybe I'll whip her back out and do it again, but there we go. So let's see if we got some power Roonies here. All right, first boot up. Well, that doesn't appear to be very good, huh? Let's go ahead and remove that. And reconnect there. Okay, that was odd. I had to reconnect it, but she did power up. All right, there's our stereo, right? Radio, which I don't really use. What's this here? Oh, that's the switch through. Bluetooth. All right, so go ahead and pair her up. All right, that worked out pretty quick, pretty easy. Now we got all of that situated. Let's just go ahead and try running our test tones through, and we'll take a look at some stuff here. All right, so as we can see here, I have the pink noise going through right now just to see what the frequency response looks like. This is all flat in here. As you can see, there's a little dip here, but it's all right. I mean, that's not bad. Little cut here, little cut here, and a tiny little boost at 12.5 kilohertz. So that's not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and go over to a 40 or 1 kilohertz test tone, and then we'll see what we have. There we go. right? So you can see 1 kilohertz. Let's go over to our oscilloscope, see what that looks like, and see if she looks like she's clipping or not. All right, she doesn't appear to be clipping, so that's pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and give it some more volume. Max volume, no clipping, so that's pretty good. Voltage, 1.65. So that's, you know, that's about what you're expecting to get out of these things. Now, this is also with all of the EQs and everything set flat, and I believe when they do test these deals here that it's what the loudness on and all that other stuff. So let's just go here real quick. And I haven't really played with this too much, so turn that on. Loudness, I'm not sure how this absolutely works, but yeah, you see there, I just boosted it and it went up to there. I'll go back over to the oscilloscope and it's still clean. So that's good on that. Obviously, there'll be a lot more testing and playing around with it, but let's go ahead and see some other things on this radio. What do we have to offer? So V bass, we're on 1,000 test tones, so bass is not going to really be something that we're going to be looking at. EQ, we don't necessarily have to mess with that right this moment. Let's just take a look to see what we have for bands and things. So starts out at 100 kilohertz all the way to 5K, then 6K to 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, 16 bands, as they said before. Let's go ahead and go back to voltage. And I am going to try even though I'm not on the sub channel, I am going to try a 50 hertz, 0 dB test tone. And right there, we're getting just about 4 volts. So that's pretty cool. Ooh, now that's a clipperoonie. That's a clipperoonie and a half. But you remember I do have the bass up pretty good, right? So let's get this to where it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's hot. That's too hot. So that's full clip right there. And I think what we're gonna have to do is go back out and turn off that loudness. And this is kind of a reason why you want to be careful when you're messing with loudness on things. As you see there, you know, I had to turn that loudness down pretty good for it to not be giving me and now we're only down to 1 volt. So restart. Max volume, oscilloscope. She's clean, right? She's clean there. A little bit of loudness on, not much. We can see here that it's about 50 hertz, right? So, I mean, she looks pretty good for a cheapo head unit to be used in a shop experience. I'll let you guys kind of know how it pans out as I'm playing around with it through the time. It does have some sort of little features. I don't know how much of them I really need. I just kind of needed a head unit for down here. The EQ section is going to be something that I'll obviously like to play with because, you know, I like to play with equalizers. So Bluetooth, radio, DVR. Let's see, so click that. It brings us, okay, that brings us back there. Go back to this loudness and I want to turn that down. See, yeah, as I turn that down, it gets better. So let's see the max. All right, I'm just starting to clip right there, and my voltage 2.75-ish. Oh, 3. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you can overdrive this unit for sure. So you got to be careful about that. You know, it's nice if head units don't get overdriven, but clearly this one has the ability to be overdriven. So that's kind of is what it is on that one. Now, I could also turn this volume down and see how far we can go up with this thing. All right, so basically, I think it'd be safe to say anything over half of the gain for loudness is going to send this thing into clipping. How loud can we go cleanly? Ooh, so 37 is clean. 38 is just starting to clip. Right, you can see that right here. 39, oh girl is, yeah, she's getting square. She's starting to look bad. So we'll say 37 is our clean, and then once again check the voltage, and we're right about 3-ish volts, right? 2.75, let's call it, for an average. All right, so let me go ahead and plug this into the rear and check the rear subwoofer, because that was one that I wanted to check and make sure that was pretty good. So we'll play that again. And the rear subwoofer output is actually putting out pretty good. Let's go back and see where the subwoofer level is, because I did see that in here somewhere. I just don't remember exactly where she was. So back. And I kind of wish the subwoofer level was right there with, so subwoofer, okay, so that's just subwoofer on and off. All right, subwoofer off, subwoofer on. Okay, so that's not a volume knob for the subwoofer. Is there one for that though? Let's look and see. DSP-ish. What is this? Okay, so this is different setup, so you can set kind of quasi time alignment for those. Oh, look at that. You can do them individually for all 4 speakers too, which is, I guess, kind of cool if you needed to. I don't think really, you know, I think people are starting to get a little out of control with this whole super SQ thing, and I don't think most people really time align their stuff, to be real with you. If I'm wrong, please put it down in the comments and let me know. But loudness, we already went on the loudness. Balance, that does exactly what we think it does. I was looking to see if there was a subwoofer level on here anywhere, and I'm not sure what this is all about. I guess we'll have to play with it some more as we go around. But V bass, once again, like I said, I don't know what that's all about. We'll check it out and figure that out, but I don't know what that's really all about. Filters. Let's, I guess, real quick while we're here, before we wrap this up, let's look and see how good the filter control is on it. So I am going to go to pink again. All right, there's our pink noise. Go back to RTA. All right, so here we go. Now we have our pink noise going in, and let's just look to see what our what the crossovers, how they look as we're going up. Try to adjust these, turn them on, 30, 80, Yeah, it's about an 80 cut. 90. Let's go to 200. 200. Yep, that's about where it starts to roll off, about 200. We can see as we go up, I don't know if you can see through my fat fingers, but I'm at 300 hertz, and yeah, sure enough, we're right. It's cutting the frequencies about where it's supposed to be cutting them. So we'll continue to just walk this down, and you can see 500 hertz. Yep. So that's where the roll starts, right? So, and that's all that goes up to. The high pass goes up to 500 hertz. I guess kind of like pretty similar to what you would get in an amplifier, right? So we'll go ahead and run that back out, and we should see all of those come up. We're at 180 hertz, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. So back to your full range, and let's turn on our low pass filter. And then let's come on down from the high side and see if we start seeing, restart that. Come on down from the high side and see if we start seeing this roll off here, as we should. And this is probably going to go a lot slower because, you know, typically you don't roll that much off that much, so. It is pretty slow. I can see it coming down. If you look, if you keep your eye on it, it is coming down as we're rolling. So we're at like 9K now. But remember, there was some boost up in here. This wasn't completely flat. So, all right. So that's really all you get. You get one high pass, one low pass. I'm gonna bring that all the way back out. Oh yeah, look at that, sweet. So, all right, so make it easier on us. We can see the cut. So right now I'm down to 1K. All right, and if I roll this through, you can see that coming up as it should throughout the frequency range. So, all right, and then on the low side, once again, we can come down and we can see that's 500 hertz, right? And about 500 is where it starts to roll off. And as we roll this back out, you can see our level is coming back up. So that's pretty good there. Let's see, quickly check. Well, we can't really check the voltage using a pink noise, right? So I think I, you know, it's cool for what it is, and we'll put it to use and play around with it and kind of see what you get out of it through the time. But I just wanted to show you something that I had picked up. I did pick it up for the channel anyway. So the amount of usage that I get out of it, I'm not quite sure how much usage I'm going to get out of it, but as I said, I picked it up for the little test bench here. So, all right, y'all. So before we take off, let's go ahead and do a little demo. As you can see, I set up my Polk bookshelf speakers here. These are just little 5 1/4. They don't take much power to get them going and sounding decent, but why not just go ahead and line them up, and let's take a listen, see what this thing sounds like. right, so as you guys can hear, hopefully it sounds good through the camera's microphone, but as you can hear, it sounds pretty decent. With my ears sitting here listening to it, it sounds pretty good. Now, this is all off of YouTube, direct YouTube, not even YouTube Music, and I'm Bluetoothing it into this thing, so I'm not giving it all of the best that I can give, the best of the best, but it sounds pretty decent. So, I mean, I would think that all of their head units are going to have fairly about the same kind of quality depending on the different features, so on and so forth. But hey, if you need something cheap or if your budget is only so big, this might be a pretty good option for you, whether it's the NAM1712 or various of their other head units. I mean, like I said, back in the day, Nakamichi used to be like one of the premier top brands, and I'm not sure exactly what happened through the years, so on and so forth, but I don't believe that they're in the same group hands. I think back in the early 2000s, a lot of these companies got shuffled around, bought and sold to different various groups, so on and so forth. But hey, if you can find something that's nice and cheap and that works for various reasons. As for me, using this for something for like test bench while I'm down here in the while I'm down here in my little shop in the basement, or even if your kid's buying a car and you want to update but you don't want to spend a bunch of money, this might be a pretty valuable option for you. So, all right, until next time, y'all. Peace.